goal kicker, Taylor Walker, with a welcome off. Here's Rosselli. Rosselli kicks the goal.
Handball to the excitement machine, McLeod. Left foot goal.
Oh, don't tell me.
He's a superstar.
Don't tell me. Oh! He's yet to kick an AFL goal. Oh, the velvet curtain.
Walker, oh, he's a colossus. He's kicked 5. He's been a handful. He's been the difference.
To cover himself in glory.
Just coming back.
And got there. Welcome to the Proper Crows podcast. We are recording Sunday afternoon after the loss against the Magpies yesterday at the MCG. Of course, it's not just me by myself here today. I'm joined by Dill. Dill, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. A bit seedy, a bit disappointed, but no, it is what it is nonetheless. But we'll have a chat about it and see where we went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go through, obviously, the loss from yesterday. We'll talk about the upcoming clash with the Eagles next week. No SANFL this week because the state game was on, and we'll just have a bit of general news as well. Of course, as we mentioned, the Crows did go down yesterday at the MCG. Dill, what was the score?
Score was Magpies 11-12-78 to the Crows 10-8-68. Goal scorers were Fogg had 4, Saligo 2, Dawson 1, Rash 1, Rankin 1, and Tex 1. Would have been nicer for a few more to hit the scoreboard, but we were pretty wasteful. So, yeah, just a 10-point loss, which is a little bit disappointing, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I think that was the key takeaway from yesterday was our inability to convert in one, crucial moments, but two, just generally in front of the six as well. You know, Isaac Rankin had 5 shots at goal and managed to register 1 straight goal with no behinds because he kept kicking it out of bounds on the full. Dan Curtin missed a shot from pretty much straight in front, 35 out. You had Fogarty uncharacteristically kicking one out of bounds on the full from the pocket. It was one of those days where we just couldn't do anything right, and Collingwood on the other end are just so classy and so well drilled and made us pay pretty much every time. I think the one for me was when Rosselli missed that goal near the start of the last quarter, and then the very next play from the kick out, they're at the other end, and I think was it Lockie Schultz or Brody Mychek or someone slotted one from 55 out, and that was the tale of the day, really.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. That third quarter, Rankin kicked it out of the full twice, and Curtin misses that one straight in front. I think you would kick those 3, and we're probably got a 3-goal buffer going into 3/4 time in the wet, and I think it's a different game. But yeah, look, I think it's just a maturity thing. It'll come, but you can't be wasteful against good sides like Collingwood, unfortunately, on the home deck at the MCG when it's it's wet, it's windy, conditions weren't great, but no, it's hopefully they'll learn from it. I'm a little bit sick and tired of saying that we'll learn from it, but it is what it is. It's such a young group still, and I think it will come together and click at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think a big learning curve, and obviously as you mentioned, Nixie's probably been talking about learning from games like this for 3-4 years, really. But it's I just feel like it's a different group this year that and at the end of the day, it's missing set shots. I mean, you can't really learn too much from that in the sense of we spray the kicks, but but players have however many shots at goal at training every week. It's not something that you're going to learn something extra from, but I think it's just a matter of realising how important those chances are when they come up and being able to take them at the time, which, they probably already know already. But hopefully the next time they're put in a situation like that, whether it's away from home or against a top team or whatever it may be, they're able to take the chances and capitalise. And who knows, we could have been sitting here talking about a win instead of another very narrow loss to the Pies, but such is life, I suppose. Player I wanted to highlight, because there was a bit of chatter about him both online and at the game yesterday with the group, our group of friends who were there at the G. Daniel Curtin. Now, I thought he had a relatively good game, other than obviously the spray that we talked about a moment ago from pretty much straight in front. Had 12 disposals, each of them were kicks, took 3 marks, 3 tackles, 3 clearances as well. What were your thoughts on his game?
He started well. Look, it's just I don't know. It's a hard one. He's how old is he? 19? He's 20.
Yeah.
He's 20. He's 197. I thought he went okay. There's bits and pieces where you sort of look and go, is that the right decision, or is that good enough? But at the end of the day, he's 20. He's 197. It's gonna grow. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't great. I thought he was lucky to sort of hold his spot. If I'm being honest with you, I thought Berry might have started with the conditions, but I don't know. I don't know what it looked like at the ground, but on the telly, it didn't look exactly awful, but it wasn't awesome either. So, what do you have, about 75% Tog? So he's still getting the rotations through, but it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't play next week.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, at the ground, it sort of looked like he was playing a bit further up the field and being that link sort of player between the forward line and defence. Took a few marks around the outside and was just setting a couple of bits of play up as well. So, I don't know. I think it's a matter of just not knowing where he's best suited, because he is such a versatile player. You can sort of just chuck him anywhere and get a bit out of him. But I don't know. To me, I was happy enough with his game. Not sure about him getting a rest for next week against the opposition that we've got coming up, which of course we'll get to a bit later on. But I was happy with the game, and if he'd slotted that goal, it would have been a big moment for the game. And obviously the one, I think, was it the first quarter that he had that shot on the boundary that very almost snuck through as well. That could have
I
been,
thought it went in.
That's what we all thought as well. Yeah, 'cause
It
we were at the
went
opposite end of the
through, but
ground.
it hit the post because we celebrated. We jumped up. We were at the Cass, and we were like, oh, it's going in, but I think it hit the post. Because I was a little bit confused because we all thought that it went in. So, and the replay looked like it went in as well. So, not really sure what happened there.
Yeah, no, I think they signalled it to hit the post, but yeah, we were at the opposite end of the ground, and judging by the reaction of the crowd up that end, which I think was the Crows Cheer Squad end, we were like, oh, geez, did he kick that? And we were all up and about, and then, called back, point, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him this week, so I'd be intrigued. I'd be surprised if he got dropped, as I said, purely based on the opposition that we've got coming to town this weekend, which, all due respect to them, probably isn't the highest level of opposition we're going to face this year. Probably a good chance to get his eye in and hopefully set him on the right track for the second half of the season. Another person who I wanted to talk about as well was Jordan Dawson, who is just rolling back to his best games. He had 27 touches, 20 kicks, 9 marks, 8 tackles, 3 clearances, 500 metres gained. He had a goal assist. He's just, he's back. I think it's fair to say he's back. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it was a ripper yesterday. Just seems he was just in every single contest. Just winning the contested footy. He only had 8 contested possessions, but I just think he was around the mark so much more than what the highlights. He had 8 tackles, so he took 9 marks as well. He was just everywhere. So it was good to see Dawes back to his best. But he loves playing. He loves playing Collingwood and loves playing the G. So. Yeah, he nearly carried us over the line there to a win, but wasn't meant to be. But no, I love Dawson's game, and sort of shows the caliber of player that he is, and probably proved a few people wrong that were sort of getting into him over the last couple of weeks for a couple of bleak performances. But no, it's good to see him play well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I strongly agree. I think the class is sort of rising again. He is just becoming that player that we all know he is. So hopefully he can get back to that elite level that he's been at, and we know he can get to for the rest of the season, and that'll go a long way for our success, you'd have to think.
Mm-hmm.
Next on the agenda, I wanted to bring up Riley Thilthorpe as well. He had a good game for what he was able to do, but I was a bit annoyed at the lack of targeting that we gave towards him, because he had 7 marks. He was pulling in absolutely everything. And when he's sitting deep forward, we're not kicking towards him. I don't know what you thought watching from the cast, but at the ground, I thought we could have targeted him a hell of a lot more instead of kicking a Fogg, who was playing relatively well, and then Tex obviously got subbed out relatively early because he wasn't doing too much. But Filth was in one of those moods, but he was getting his marks up the ground instead of in the forward 50, which wasn't ideal.
Yeah, it looked like he was playing a little bit high up the ground, and was more of a connector, looking to put that ball inside 50. And I think Fogg was playing the deepest forward for most of the game, which I thought was a little bit perplexing with the back line that Collingwood had put up with with Frampton and no Darcy Moore, no real, interceptor. So I was a little bit confused by that coaching decision because Jeremy Howe was just dominating Tex in the air as the deepest forward. Jeremy Howe would come across and he would clunk a mark, and Tex would sort of stand there with his hands in his pockets and think, well, my job's done here. But I think that was something that, we got beaten in the coach's box by. I think there was a few things yesterday where we sort of just got out coached. And that was probably one of them. I think that Thilthorpe maybe should have gone to the deepest forward and really shown that, he was the biggest man in the ground really, and sort of put to use the no Darcy Moore, but it is what it is. Someone's got to clunk those bigger marks up the ground and supply it into the forward 50. But I think something had to change in the third quarter there when we couldn't really get a hold on the game. And Darcy kicked 3 in the second. Was it the second quarter?
The third quarter. Oh no, yeah, the second. Yeah,
it was the second quarter where Fogarty kicked 3 and then he sort of quietened a little bit. And that one he was playing a little bit higher up the ground at that point. But I don't know. He played well. He took 7 marks. He was getting up. He was dominating in the air as he does, and in the wet as well. It was pretty impressive. But I think he could have gone back and played deepest forward a little bit more and really utilised the no Darcy more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking while sitting there at the ground. I mean, he was taking everything that came towards him. He couldn't drop the ball yesterday, and for some reason we were just kicking it to him 70 out where he can't score from there. I mean, I think his one behind that he kicked yesterday, I think was from just outside 50, and it only just missed, to be fair to him. But if you get it to him within 30 metres or so, he's probably kicking 5 yesterday. But It is what it is. Just having a look at the stats here to see if anyone else sort of sticks out. Isaac Rankin, obviously, we spoke about a little bit with his sprays. Imagine he kicked 3 goals and had 26 touches instead of the 105 instead. But it is what it is. He'll learn from that, I'm sure. And he saw on his Instagram story the old drip stick meme. That was good by him, I thought.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the taking the piss a little bit and sort of saying, I was shit yesterday. Apologies, but I think it was one of the worst quarters of footy that we've seen from Sir Isaac in quite a while. I think it might have been the worst quarter of footy that he's had in a Crows Guernsey. But look, that's footy sometimes. He had 12 turnovers as well, so he was pretty wasteful yesterday. But that goal that he kicked, bursting into the forward 50 when he won the turnover there from the Pies transition, reminded me a little bit of an Andrew McLeod sort of just moving across the turf. So that was good to see. That was an absolute ripper of a goal. But that's probably where the highlights from finished yesterday. Unfortunately, he had 26 touches still, but he probably wasn't very damaging with them. He only had 4 score involvements for the day, which is a little bit frustrating. But you can't do it every single week. So hopefully he bounces back and learns from it and doesn't let the 3 awful kicks get to his confidence too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think he will. He doesn't seem to be that sort of player to let it dwell on him too much. He'd come out next week and kick a bag of hope and have 25 touches and just, dominate all day. So fingers crossed he bounces back like that. A couple of players who I've seen a bit of discourse about online, and probably a little bit unfairly so, given they've got some credits in the bank. Alex Neil-Bullen and Ben Keays had both very uncharacteristically quiet days yesterday. I mean, Alex Neil-Bullen, 9 touches, 5 kicks, had 3 marks and 3 tackles, and Ben Keays only had the 7 touches with 4 kicks and nothing else. The stat sheet is basically empty for him there. They just couldn't get involved. I think Nibbler a couple of times was in and around the ball, but Ben Keays was hardly sighted all of yesterday, and it obviously shows on the stats. I mean, not sure what happened with the both of them. Both play obviously a pretty similar role, whether it's the weather or just the game style that was being played yesterday. I don't know what happened with them, but they just weren't in and around it.
Yeah, it was a weird one, and I just don't. I saw a few people getting into Neil-Bullen, and I just think it's fucking ridiculous. He's been so good all season. One bad game, it is what it is. I just think the abuse is a little bit unwarranted, I guess. I just don't really understand it. And Keys was he was quite he was awful yesterday. He was in and around the footy, but just wasn't really doing anything. And he had like 90% time on ground as well, so it wasn't even like he was sitting off. He just wasn't able to get involved and get into the contest. But very uncharacteristic for Keezer and Nibbler, but I'm sure he'll come back and hopefully a good confidence booster next week against the Eagles. But yeah, I'm sort of I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to sit here and say, look, we'll forget about it, we'll move on. But I just hope that it isn't a blueprint now for teams to sort of shut down those two, because you shut those two down and run a little bit of strife as we saw yesterday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the third person who's been copping a little bit of stick online is Isaac Cumming. He's had probably a couple of quiet games in a row now, and it does raise a question. I mean, is there someone sitting in the sandful who might be better to get a run this week, or do we just sort of leave him in the side and see how we go? He had, 10 touches, 5 kicks, 5 handballs, 4 marks, and a tackle. So he's probably another one who didn't really do a lot yesterday. A couple of weeks in a row where he's just been a little bit quiet and not really getting involved. I don't know your thoughts. Do you reckon he holds his spot, or what do you reckon we do with Isaac?
I wouldn't mind a debut this week for a Charlie Edwards, or an Oscar Ryan, but I don't think that'll happen because obviously there was no Sandford with the state game on. So I think he holds his spot, but I think he's on edge. But even if he does go out, they'll probably just bring a Lockie Shoal in. But yeah, it's a little. I wouldn't say it's concerning, but he does need to lift because he's had a pretty woeful couple of weeks, but. He started the season well, and obviously there was that chit chat within the first few weeks that he hasn't been great, which sort of confused me a little bit. But now it's sort of starting to creep back, and I think it's a little bit justified. Yesterday he was wasteful. I think in the third quarter where he decided to punch and instead of mark when it was clear, and it ended up turning into a Pies goal, which I was very confused by that decision. I was sort of sitting there thinking, what the fuck? What are you doing? But just a bit of a brain fade, and he probably wouldn't be awful to give him a week off, but also could be another confidence boost next week to just get his hands in the peel and see what he can do with it. But I'll give him one more week before I start calling for his head.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. Any other players who you sort of saw yesterday you wanted to talk about?
Laird was good yesterday. He wasn't great, but he was good. I think he was one of our better ones. Sort of, he used the footy pretty well back there. Like he had 27 touches. He had 9 set possessions as well. Sort of crumbing up when the ball hit the ground down there, which was nice to see. But besides that, no one really jumped off the page at me besides Dawson and Fogarty. Rash was good in patches. He got a few CBAs and won a couple centre bounce clearances from memory, which was good to see. But I don't know, it's just a bit of a hard one yesterday with the conditions. I don't want to look too much into it because I think we're beaten in the coaching department more than anything, and like we're wasteful as well. So it's just a frustrating one. But I think we've covered the boys that we want to. And there's no one else really that I want to have a whinge about.
Nah, absolutely. I think it's one of those where you give him a bit of a pass, and we know that it was a bit of a. I don't even think it was the game style yesterday or any tactics or anything like that. It's just purely just taking your chances, and we weren't able to do that, and that's why we're standing here talking about a 10-point loss and instead of a win yesterday. I mean, if Rochelle kicks that goal, then Collingwood don't have the chance to rebound straight away. If Fogg kicks that goal from the pocket, same deal, and obviously if Rankin kicks those two, then that's another couple of goals. We probably left 30 points out there with our misses. So yeah, it is what it is. I think we move swiftly on to next week and hopefully get a rebound before we start another real tough part of the fixture as well in Brisbane and Sydney. So we'll go there. I'll just jump over to Twitter at the moment because we put up a post this morning and got some feedback from a few people. We will start with Reese, who says, same old shit, really. Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. He says, we lose the same time Same way every time. It's hard to believe Nick's when he says we'll learn from that because we never do. It was still the silly errors in costly moments plus the goals in red time. 7 of 11 of Collingwood's goals were red time goals. That's a stat.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and we sort of take the piss about red time crows and what so not, but yeah, there was a couple ones late there yesterday that really hurt. It was pretty cheap, a few of the goals that we gave as well, but fuck, I think it's just a maturity thing.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. There's those little moments that if you're a bit more chill, you probably take and different result as we said, but yeah, it is what it is. Daniel says we lost that one ourselves. We kicked 2-4 of the Rankins, 2 Curtains and Rash, and we win. Shit generally, but didn't cost us. Strongly agree. There have been too many people talking about the umpires from yesterday, like that Miller throw that handball that was paid a throw.
Yeah.
It hasn't cost us the game.
No.
There was a bloke on my flight back this morning who was talking to his mate, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we were robbed. No, we weren't." It's just stupid discourse from. I think people just really using last year's and the year before's game as a bit of a snowball as an excuse to blame the umpires, but in no ways were the umpires at fault for our loss. They were shit, but both ways.
Yeah, it was pretty awful both ways. The Miller handball was a fucking joke of a decision. The Dawson
Rankin
mark
that went off side bottom.
is it the Rankin mark? It was the Rankin mark. Yeah, that came off the side bottom. There was a 50 that was pretty ridiculous. The Worrell holding the ball, he got smacked in the head. In the last quarter there, that was a little bit ridiculous. It was it was pretty shit both ways. But yeah, the umpiring is a genuine concern though, just over the whole AFL really, not just with us. It's pretty woeful. Like I'm just watching the North Melbourne Richmond game now, and they've just called deliberate where it's been smothered. So a little bit confused by that one. He's literally kicked the ball, it's been smothered, it's gone out, and they've called deliberate. So the umpiring across the entire league is a bit of a joke. It needs to be fixed up pretty quickly, or we're going to start seeing the state of the game go downhill big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. John says they took their chances, we didn't. Third quarter we had all the play, then in the last 5 minutes we gave away 3 quick goals. That was it for me. And Rochelle had one, he missed 30 metres out. They kicked one from 50 metres. Thought we lifted with the ground ball in the second half, but the first half they killed us there, and that's why Collingwood is the best team in the comp. They take their chances. Peter says, narrow miss by Curtin, followed by 2 bad by his standards misses by Rankin. Would have given us a handy buffer given the wet conditions. Would it have made a difference to the end result? Who knows? Brad says, costly misses in the third quarter was the difference in the end. Have to be better than that. Who else have we got here? We've got James, who says, very loose defensively and in the second half, continuously shot ourselves in the foot with wasted opportunity. Another disappointing trend in recent weeks. We've had way too many passengers. Yeah, potentially there's a few.
Yeah, I think it's hard with the passengers. Like, I just don't really know who you would want to bring in instead. Like, yes, there is a few passengers, 100%. I do agree, but like, who are you bringing in instead? Like, if you can name me a couple, I'll be happy to sit here and listen and say, yeah, that's fine. But it is what it is. Like, when you've got Murray out, then of course you're going to have Butts or Borlase play, who are unfortunately not AFL level, but it is what it is. You got to deal what you got to deal with, and I think that's where we're at the moment. We're probably one key defender off being genuine contenders, as I said a couple of weeks ago, but that'll come. I'm sure we'll snag someone at some point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I tend to agree. Gilly says this was the game that was penciled in to lose. Best/most experienced team in the comp on a roll at the G. We should stop hand-wringing and remember we have a huge experience deficit with a developing squad. As in life, you learn more from close losses than runaway wins. Fair enough. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Zob says, was actually a great game in trying conditions. No shame in a 10-point loss against the benchmark side on their home turf. Always a tough gig. Sliding to a moments could have meant a different result. So pretty common theme in the comments here. Alex says, in person we looked outworked and outwilled. Pies worked so much harder off the ball, so many contests where we didn't shepherd for each other or knock the ball to teammates' advantage or handball before the pressure comes. We rely on the skill of a select few.
Yeah, I reckon that's pretty fair. Um, but yeah, as I said, it's just a maturity thing. Like you need
Yeah.
that. Every team has their players that step up in big moments. So of course you're going to be not relying on a couple, but you're going to be expecting a couple boys to sort of step up in the bigger moments. But it'll come, and I think that's sort of where I'm at. I think I said yesterday straight after I wasn't hurt. I wasn't disappointed. Like it's a 10-point loss. When we've been pretty wasteful. So I think everyone on Twitter here is pretty spot on. There's most of the things I'm reading here are pretty respectable, really, and I don't really disagree with much of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel the same. We've got a couple more. We've got Jeff who says their best is spectacular and unstoppable when it's on. Unfortunately, in every game this season, we get to see both versions of Crows football. The really stupid, lacking commitment version, which is there for periods of every game, regardless of opponent, and the really good. They make selection faux pas also. Nankervis is struggling at the level, as is Butts. They can't carry passengers and expect to beat top sides. Nank wasn't great yesterday, but I mean, I think it's slightly harsh.
Yeah, he was. I agree with the Butts. I agree with the Butts comment. I've been pretty vocal about what I think of our key back stocks, but and Nank wasn't great yesterday. I think he had 2 turnovers that resulted straight in Pies goals. So I wouldn't say that I disagree, but I don't think he's struggling at level. I think it's just a slump in form.
Yeah. No, absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree. And lastly, we have got Dave who says, actually thought the players played better yesterday compared to the corresponding game last year. Dominated the second half, but you've got to take your chances versus quality sides, and there was plenty of them. Got a lot of respect for Collingwood and how they go about it also. Where are we here? James has responded to that, saying, one of my biggest gripes currently, we can have so much of the ball, stuff around with it, miss an opportunity, opposition gets the ball immediately, goes straight down the other end and kicks a goal. Happens way too much. That's the bit that really hurts. And I mean, I think you see that consistently with footy. It's a momentum game. You can have the ball for as long as you want, but if you don't do anything with it, the opposition can get down the other end straight away and, make you pay very quickly. And I think that's what we mean when we say we need to take our chances, because if you don't, other teams will, especially when you're playing against those top teams in the comp. And, there's not many better in the comp than Collingwood, and we saw that firsthand yesterday, that if you don't take your chances, they'll certainly take theirs and make you pay.
Yep. They're the probably the best side in the comp for a reason. So it's a learning curve, but we'll get there. It's just maturity is what I keep saying to myself. So hopefully you bounce back.
Yeah. No, exactly right. I tend to agree. And thank you, everyone, for your comments this morning as well. Of course, if you're listening right now and you want to go give us a follow, share any thoughts through DM, comments, whatever it may be, at Proper Crows Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. You won't be watching a video this week of our faces, but we'll have a video up on YouTube just of the logo. Just because, look, we're not in the greatest shape this morning after a big day in Melbourne and still having a big day at the Cass. It was, you probably don't want to see us at the moment. Let's be perfect.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit worse for wear. Got on the. I was out watching some D grade footy at 10 o'clock in the city, and then straight to the casino. Then went to the Port game, and then went to a ballpark music gig in the night. So it was a big day, and I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear today. Still haven't got my car, so you wouldn't want to be looking at my skull at the moment, because it's a rough looking head, rougher than normal anyway.
Yeah, no, I fully feel that. I think I was up at 4 o'clock yesterday. Flew out to Melbourne at 6, got there at 7:30 or whatever it was. Into the hotel, to the pub, to the Crows game, back to the pub, to Marvel for the Saturday night game with Essendon and the Dogs, and fuck, wasn't that a letdown? We thought when going into that it was going to be a semi-decent game, and then the Dogs kicked the first 9, and it was over relatively quickly. And then myself and our mate Mitch were walking the streets of Melbourne back to the hotel, stopped in at a little 7-Eleven, and I paid $12.50 for a bag of chips. So that sums up how my day was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a big day, and I think I paid $60 with Carl's Jr. and Uber Eats at midnight last night. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment.
Yeah, just one of those. And last point I wanted to touch on for the game, Tex was subbed out. I forgot to mention that a bit earlier. He was, yeah, no, I think it was just hard for tools. We were a bit too tall, which could be a selection issue going in or whatever you may see it. But he just wasn't having any impact on the ground really. And then Sam Berry came on at the half and probably didn't have too much impact himself really. He was caught holding the ball a couple of times and just couldn't get into it. But yeah, I don't know about Tex. This week could be a rest week for him. Probably at that point, it's a game where you can probably feel okay resting him. I don't know your thoughts on that, but I wouldn't be surprised this week if Tex had a rest.
Yeah, I think Tex gets a rest this week. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think it's probably the right call as well. So I don't think we'll see Tex out there next week, and we'll probably win pretty comfortably anyway, and hopefully see Fogarty or something kick a bag. But yeah, if Tex plays next week, then um, I'll be very surprised, and I think it'll be a bit of a coaching blunder as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that one as well. And one other point, as you mentioned, coaching, the old Knicks Out crew have been active in their thoughts over the last day since the end of the game. Firstly, just want to get your thoughts on the old Knicks Out movement, because I think the people spreading that sort of message are overreacting severely. One of our friends who you stared the barrel down is very vocal on the Knicks Out crew. What are your thoughts on those people popping up over the last day after the loss?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with it at all. Like, if we got belted, then we might have been having not a different conversation, because I think we're still in a great spot, and he's going to get. If we don't make finals this year, then get rid of him. But I think we're going to be playing finals footy. I just don't think it's very fair commentary at all. Like, yes, we got, he got beaten yesterday by Fly. McRae, he sort of killed us defensively and sort of killed our transition coming, rebounding off half back, and they were able to capitalise with that pretty well. But here's what it is. Like, though, if those boys kick those three or four goals in the third quarter, we win the game of footy when we probably shouldn't have, and all of a sudden they're going to be, saying, "Oh, how good's Nixie?" This and that. So I think it's unfair, and fuck, we don't make finals footy, and then we can talk about it. That's probably where I sit. Really, it's pretty straightforward. Don't play finals, he goes. We play finals, and he gets another year and sees the rest of his contract out.
Yeah, exactly right. I tend to agree. I think, if we're unsuccessful, then you're going to get your way. All of you people who are pretty keen on getting rid of Matty Nicks, so you can either death ride us or not be on board because you want to see the end of Nixie, or you can get on board, and if we're successful, he'll stay. So it's a positive either way for you. So the commentary is just exhausting, really. I mean, where are we sitting on the ladder at the moment? Did we fall very far?
Fifth, I think. Sixth.
We're sitting sixth. We're a win and percentage out of the top four from
Yeah.
the bottom four last year, and we've got people complaining about the coach. Just very frustrating.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but people will never learn. I think I was the same in 2017. I was whinging about Pike halfway through the season. We'll sit in top, so people are never happy, really.
Nah, exactly right. Next up, we're going to move forward to the news, and there's only one bit of news that's really come out this week, and it hasn't been made official, but Cal Toomey is about as close to official as you can probably get. He was suggesting during the week that Wayne Miller will be signing a 3-year contract with the club. I'm not so sure about the length of time of this contract. So, I mean, it's good to see players signing up, but given his history with injuries really throughout his whole career, 3 years just seems a little bit excessive for me.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I wouldn't mind 1 or 2, but 3 years I think is a little bit crazy, especially as you said with his injury history. But I'm maybe looking towards, is it to try and get Nass across to say, look, one of your cousins going to be here, and one of your mates is going to be here for another 3 years. Why don't you come on board and see what we can, and we'll show you what you can do. So that's the pessimist in me having a look
Yeah.
at that. But that's the only thing I can really think of. So, like, it's fine. Like, he's best 22. He's gotten fit. He's playing some good footy. So I don't mind the extension. But I think 3 years is a little bit excessive in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I saw 3 years and I was like, whoa, yeah, not 100% certain about that. I mean, he would be, mid-20s? He'd be 26, 27 maybe?
He got drafted 2015, I think.
Yeah.
He'll be 20. I reckon he's 26. I reckon he's a couple years older than me. He's 2 years older than me, so I reckon he's be 27 this year.
He is. He is 27 currently, turns 28 on the 14th of September. So
Yep.
takes him through to 31, which is, yeah, I mean, if he can get himself right and, stays fit, then it's fine. There's no issues with it. But it's just the multiple injuries previously, which just make me a little bit worried about it. But obviously we're hoping for the best for him and to get going, and yeah, hopefully it'll all be okay. But we'll see how we go, and hopefully he stays fit and on the park. We will move forward to proper classics for this week with the West Coast Eagles. I mean, we had a few classic matches with them in the mid-2000s, most of them going against us, to be perfectly honest. But I'm just trying to think about the games we've had against them, really. It's a tough one. Do you remember any good games against the Eagles?
Whoa, fuck. Getting beaten, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Well, Tex kicked 9 against him last year in that last game of this season when he kicked 9-4. No, not last year before, I think it was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a classic, but that was a good spectacle. I was there that day, that night at Optus, for my very first Optus experience, and he kicked 9-4, and somehow I snagged a ticket in one of the Eagles, like, proper supporter bays. So that was different. I was the only fucking Crows within probably 200 metres of me, so that's fine. 2017, was there any decent games against them?
Don't think so. There was 2018 where we beat them by, I think, 10 points, and we were sort of in a bit of a slump, and we had that one where Tom Doedee kicked the goal and did the goose step to celebrate. That was one. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit hard because we don't typically have many close games against them looking through the history at the moment, other than ones that we've lost. Obviously, there's a couple of prelim finals there, which if it weren't for some alleged activities might have been a classic that we could be posted. But, they are. I don't know.
We might have to we might have to dive a little bit deeper or chuck it out to people and see what they think, because nothing actually springs to mind, and normally I'm pretty good with that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Now, we'll put it on Twitter during the week, and we'll see what you guys can come up with. I reckon the Texas 10 is probably the leader at the moment. Not that it was a fantastic game, but it was a win and would be good to look back at, I suppose. So we'll get it up at Proper Crows Pod on Twitter during the week, and Instagram as well. We'll have it up there too. Yeah, let us know what you think. Any classic games you can think of against the Eagles that I can find some vision for, I'll be happy to listen. No SANFL to go through this week, of course. We had the state game on the weekend. So we will look forward to playing the West Coast Eagles next Saturday afternoon. I believe it is at the Adelaide Oval.
Sunday afternoon, I think.
Sunday afternoon?
I think it's Sunday. I think it's fucking... Let me have a look. I'm fairly sure it's Sunday either. Yeah, it is 12:40 Sunday.
Yeah, that probably suits the fixture, to be fair. It's not unfair to have us at that time next week.
Yeah.
Probably not the greatest crowd will be in attendance next week, but yeah, we'll certainly be there up on the hill. So 6 versus 18th, the Crows taking on the Eagles next week. Other than Tex, obviously we mentioned probably a rest for him, and you mentioned Curtin earlier as well. Can you see anyone else dropping out of the side or coming in? It's a bit hard, obviously, with no SANFL this week, but...
Yeah, no Sandful. Probably I'd say we'll go Tex out and maybe bring in another small. And Curtin goes to the third forward again. But that didn't really go too well against Fremantle, so I don't know if that'll happen again, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. But I think Tex goes out, maybe Berry comes in, and maybe a debut for someone, I think it'd be a good game to give the opportunity to maybe a Charlie Edwards or someone like that. I'm not or maybe Sid comes back in. That's the only thing I can think of really. I don't know where you stand with it.
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty similar. I mean, I don't think we need to, jump at anything too badly. It's not like we were disgraced yesterday or anything like that. I think keep it relatively similar. Tech's probably about right for a rest given, age and form. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the squad and pretty happy to take it into the Eagles, who, as I said earlier, no disrespect to them, is a game we probably should be winning relatively comfortably. And I'd like to see us bounce back from yesterday and win by 14 goals or something like that, given that it's at home. It's one that we really have to go in and win next week, to be perfectly honest, and hopefully we can keep a consistent squad through it and just roll in there and do the job.
Yeah, look, if we don't win by 10, 15 goals next week, I think there might be a few people having a whinge, and rightly so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I tend to agree. So just on it, we'll do our predictions. Who have you got for the win? How much? And we'll go first goal.
Crows by 70, about 10 goals, I reckon. I think it should be pretty comfortable, and we'll go Thilthorpe first goal, I think, because he should be able to dominate that back line of who have they got back down there at the moment? I think Oscar Allen's been playing fullback for him, so it could get dirty.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. They aren't in the best shape at the moment. The old Eagles, they're struggling a bit. Obviously, lost to the Tigers last week, which was not great. They've got the Saints this afternoon, so nothing to report from this round just yet. The classic Optus Stadium 4:40 start for us here in Adelaide, in Perth. So we'll keep a watch on their game a bit later on. Just having a look at the responsible betting markets at the moment. The line's set at 53 points. Crows paying $1.04. I think we probably win by around that 12 goal mark. Anything below 10 goals, and I probably walk away next week a little bit disappointed. So I'm going to pick us by 79 points, and can't pick Tex for the first goal if I say he's going to be dropped. So I'll go Filth for the first goal next week and see how we go. But other than that, anything else you wanted to cover for it, mate?
No, that's about it. But there is one thing that I do want to say that I think sort of rattled everyone yesterday about Adam Selwood.
Of course.
Yesterday, so just a bit of a quick one. If you're not okay, speak up, say something, reach out, and just check in with your mates. Just a quick message of, hey mate, how you been? Could really change something up. And this thing is something that's affected me quite closely before. So I think it's just another reminder to always just check in with people and make sure they are doing okay. Because it's just you don't know what someone's going through, and it's hard. So just check in with your mates and really make sure that you're getting around and supporting people where they can, because life's a cunt sometimes. So just take care of each other.
Yeah. Nah, spot on, mate. And of course, if you're in a position where you may not necessarily have someone, Lifeline 131144, you can call them, you can text them on 0477131144 or chat on their website as well. If any of you ever need anything, of course, open to reach out. But reach out to your mates, reach out to someone. And condolences to the Selwood family. Obviously been a very tough couple of months for them, with both Troy and Adam passing too. So on that note, we'll head off there. Thanks for jumping on this afternoon, Dill.
No worries, mate. Thanks for dealing with me, because as we said, I'm a little bit dusty. I'm literally laying in bed right now doing this because I'm worse for wear. But no, it's been good to sort of have a chat and debrief, because I think it needed to be done, because I was feeling a little bit about it all. So hopefully we can bounce back next week against the Eagles and sort of get back into a bit of form, because we got a fucking tough month coming.
Yep, absolutely we do. And hopefully we bounce back next week and just set it off on the right trail before we head to Sydney and Brisbane and Hawthorn and all of these other teams that we've got coming up. So I'll see you next week at the footy, mate. Enjoy your week, and thank you everyone for listening. Check out the socials at Proper Crows Pod, and of course, go Crows.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. All right. You've got the shit stick as well. 33% for you.
Ring the bell! Ring the bell! The bell in the city of churches! Stand up like Matthew Nicks and rule like you never have before! Jarman again, round the body, down